Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Roslyn Wanjiko. What do we do here? Personal development, relationship, and spiritual wellness matters. And on today's episode, guys, I came to burst someone's bubble. And it's been long since we talked about relationships, especially on my own. Most of the times, you guys really love when I'm having such talks with my husband, but unfortunately today I'm all alone, but it's exciting. I'm alone because I'm actually talking about singlehoodness. So if you're in that category, if you're in the singlehood tribe, come have a seat with me because I have a lot to talk about. And I think it will benefit you in one way or the other. It will allow you to enjoy your season because I believe it's important to enjoy every single season you're in, pun intended, right? So guys, I just thought about marriage now that I'm married. I know the years are few. I mean, I've only been married for like 1 year and a half-ish, something like that. But I've just been trying to think about what I was doing in my singlehood season. You know, what was my state of mind at that time? Was I just letting the days go by without enjoying the season of singlehoodness? Or was I actually savoring that season? You know, so marriage is beautiful. First, let's start there. But marriage is also not a child's play. And interestingly, it's like a double-edged sword. Why? Because marriage is not a child's play. It requires a lot of work. And that is something you've heard everywhere. So I know this is a cliche for me to say. But again, marriage can be fun. Marriage can be a playground. But then the foundation has to be solid. So what are we talking about basically today? We are talking about the things that you should know that are a privilege or you get to enjoy in your single season that you have to sacrifice once you get into marriage. And before you start enjoying the sacrifice, it's gonna take work. So let's delve into those, I think 3 things. Yeah, we could put them in a broad category of 3 things, right? And the first thing that you should know as a single person you're enjoying is space. You know, think about it. Physical space, mental space. Ask me why. This is because once you get into marriage, your space is invaded whether you like it or not. If you're a person who loves their space, then you're not going to get much of that. And let me put a disclaimer. This is for marriages that are working. Because if you're in a dysfunctional marriage, then there's no rule there, you know. If you're in a dysfunctional marriage, anything goes. You let it just flow. But if you are in an intentional marriage, then you know that these things have to be intentional. So space is one of those things, guys. And I'm telling you, it goes down to the most intimate space, your bed. I mean, guys, it's very serious. If you're a single person, you get to enjoy all the time you want. And I know this is PG rated, but guys, once you're in marriage, you don't even like get to have your bed to yourself. Initially, as a single person, you're like, you know, the way people make jokes about that cold weather. Guys, sometimes it's easiest to be fun because, I mean, you all know. If you're married, you all know. But if you're not, enjoy your bed as much as you can. Enjoy that space as much as you can because sometimes you're really tired, but there are rights in marriage, you know. In that bed, there are rights in marriage. And basically, actually, when you go for, if you're a Kikuyu, when you go for that itara, you know what they tell you. You didn't basically just go to cook and nini. But don't get me wrong, it's not a bad thing or it's not work per se. But sometimes it can feel like work. It can feel like a responsibility more than it is fun. So I'm trying to keep this PG rated as possible, but you guys know what I mean. That sometimes you have to give yourself away and you want to sleep and you want to rest and you want. So guys, I know in singlehoodness in your mind, you're like, when am I going to get to enjoy this intimacy? You know, when am I going to get to enjoy? But It's not always like that. So enjoy. I know when the time is right, you get to enjoy that season. But right now in your singlehoodness, believe me, it's a privilege to be all alone and to have all the time. And also, just in the house, think about it. When you're just in the house, you know, the mentality we have is that, okay, maybe I'm living by myself as a single woman. And so what you have in your mind, or what your mind tells you, is that when I have a partner, finally, I can have company that I get to talk with every single day. But sometimes people just want their space. So it's even worse when you're married and you're in the house and you're not even talking. You feel even more lonely because you're like, is this person not seeing me? You know, and sometimes it's not even like you have conflicts. It's just that there's nothing to talk about, you know? And these are the realities, honestly. If I was going to take you through premarital classes, I'd tell you these things. Why? Because I want you to go there with a ready mind, not... I believe I'm a realist. I'm not an optimist. I'm a realist, and sometimes it helps me face situations as they are. Sometimes it messes up the perspectives, but it's very healthy. It's a very healthy balance when you're making major decisions. So this is to say that when it comes to space, sometimes it's invaded, and sometimes you don't want it to be invaded, but it has to. So as a single person, enjoy your space as much as possible. Number 2, guys, making decisions. Oh my goodness. You don't know the weight until you're in marriage. You see, in your singlehoodness, for example, career decisions, it becomes very easy. It's so easy for you to switch careers. It's so easy for you to move from one location to the other, regardless, you know, of where it is. It could be you're in Nairobi, you want to move to Mombasa, you want to move to Kisumu, you want to move to the, you know, States, you want to move to UK, all these things, guys. But when you get married, yes, you're working on your career, but it becomes very difficult because why did you get married in the first place? You know, you also have to protect that space. So there's something that will always be at the back of your mind when you're making these decisions, career choices. You want to ask yourself, again, let me remind you, this is for marriages that are meant to work, marriages that you're building together, partnership, you know, because they are, again, like I said in the beginning, there are marriages that just are there. I don't even know, I can't tell the purpose of those marriages. But for marriages that are meant to work in partnership, sometimes you have to sacrifice, you know, even when it comes to career choices. So as a single person, honey, I need you to focus on building your career and guard that so jealously, you know, guard that space so jealously, and don't take it for granted. These are the things that you're taking for granted in singlehoodness that you will realize were a privilege when you get married. So if it's about working on your career, this is the time. This is not the time where you start wallowing in a pity party, thinking to yourself, or is everybody getting married and I'm not? This is the time to enjoy those privileges, you know, so that when you get into marriage, for example, if God blesses you in that way, when you get into marriage, you might be a bit more stable when it comes to career, especially for women. Ladies, it's so important for you to work on that because it will really affect you. Remember, marriage is a beautiful space to be in, but also requires a lot of sacrifice, you know. And these are the things. Now we are breaking down to what are these sacrifices people talk about, you know. So in terms of your career, in your singlehoodness, it's not time to wallow in your pity party. It's time to work on those goals. Work on those goals and guard that space jealously, because in that space, you're not thinking about too much. You're not thinking about who will I leave my children with. You're not thinking about who will I leave my husband with, who will I leave my partner with. You know, those are not things you really think about at the time. So again, that is something that you get to enjoy as a privilege in your singlehoodness. And when it comes to marriage, now there are limitations, believe it or not, unless you decide, you know what, you get to sacrifice your marriage again, which is not something you wanted to do when you got married. Now, number 3, finances. Guys, let me tell you, minor, even as a woman, as long as your marriage is about partnership, finances are a big deal. They are a big deal because now, remember, you're working on goals as partners. And I know most men might disagree with this because for them, they believe they're the sole providers. Yes, that's fine. But in terms of just being a responsible person, by the way, guys, when you read Proverbs 31, the Proverbs 31 woman, she's really a hands-on woman, you know. She really does things for the family. So there's a lot to sacrifice in terms of finances. If your finances are just used for your own, you know, glam, if your finances are just used for sending to your family members, let me tell you, you have to kind of change that. Because if it's, I mean, today's marriages, maybe in the past, you could just take your finances and do whatever you wanted to do with them without really much thought to it, putting much thought into it. But right now, you have to think about it. You have to think about your partner. You have to think about supporting your partner, you know. And even for men, I mean, guard your finances as much as you can while being single, you know. Don't waste resources with every girl you meet outside, you know, because once you get into marriage, now it becomes a responsibility. You don't really have much of a choice. So your finances don't really go into just anything you want. You have to think about building a home. You have to think about your children that may come on board or that you already have. You will have to think about food for your family, you know, fending for your family like that. So finances are something else that is such a privilege when you have in your singlehoodness that now become a major responsibility when it comes to marriage. So in terms of the responsibility financially, you need to understand that enjoy your finances in your singlehoodness. I know there's the issue of black tax that comes in the way and that makes you even not feel so much difference, but for people who have the privilege of not encountering a huge burden when it comes to black tax, enjoy your finances as a single person. Invest where you can, you know, make your investments as much as possible, because when you get married, now you have to decide. Now you have to bring your finances into that pool, you know, and for you to decide as partners that this is what we want to do with our finances. We want to set this apart for our investments. We want to set this apart for our day-to-day bills, etc, etc. So that's another privilege that single people don't see and don't get to enjoy just because their minds are so stuck on why am I not married yet. And I think heavily the sacrifice that you have to make as a married person is that decisions don't only affect you anymore. Now you think about somebody else. And let me tell you guys, when you're dating, you could be on the same page when it comes to issues. You know, you could be on the same page when it comes to what you want to do with your money. You could have those conversations, which is healthy, by the way, because at least it gives you a tiny little picture of the kind of thinking your partner has. But when the rubber meets the road, then when you have finances here and you're faced with actual situations now in marriage, then you realize, oh my goodness, sometimes our goals are far apart. But again, it all boils down to communication. So when you're a single person, you get to enjoy the autonomy of making decisions. You get to enjoy autonomy. Yeah, you get to enjoy that freedom of deciding, you know what, today I can eat out, you know what, today I can go for a sleepover, you know what, today I can etc. Decisions, guys, don't take that for granted. Enjoy that space so jealously as a single person. And because when it comes to marriage, now you will have to sacrifice. And nowadays, I don't know what's even happening to marriages, because people are not setting a solid foundation. So there's a lot of chaos that's happening in there, you know. So again, singlehoodness, you get to enjoy right now. If you're single, please listen and listen to me good. You need to decide what kind of marriage you want from the word go. Don't let things go with the flow, because if there's one thing that will not have a free fall it is marriage. In that case, think about your business. How do you set up your business? Because there's not much difference between, actually, when you're setting up a business, there is emotion, you know, there is emotion and there's rationale. Why? Because you interact with people as you're running your business, and you interact with money as you're running your business, and so many other decisions. And so is marriage, you know. So right now in your singlehoodness, you cannot afford to be casual in your decision when it comes to your partner. Imagine all these things, how they think, how they operate with their resources, who they talk to, guys, because you might think that their circle of friends will not affect you eventually, but when it comes to marriage, you will realize that their circle of friends will affect you immensely. Why? Because now you will have maybe to interact with them a bit more, or if you're not interacting with them, then the interaction of your partner with those partners will affect you as an individual. It will affect what you expected in your marriage, because maybe you expected to spend a lot of time with your partner, but now you can't because they give more attention to friends, and the kind of friends they're giving attention to is not the kind of influence you want for your marriage and your so guys, singlehoodness is about guarding your space jealously, because it is, I mean, there's a lot of freedom, there's a lot of blessing that comes with singlehoodness, but then again, there's a lot of blessing that comes with utilizing that space to make good decisions, so that when you get into marriage, there's a solid ground, there's a safe ground for you to play. Otherwise, you will be playing on a shaky ground. There will be no space to play, because the person that you will get married to now determines how happy or sad your life becomes. And I know you've had this, but it's as serious as it gets. If you get a partner who you can never have a conversation with, then marriage does not become a playground anymore, you know. And maybe we have a video pending, by the way, that we are supposed to do on how to maintain intimacy in marriage. But let me tell you, the first thing, and I need to even mention it here, the first thing that will help you maintain intimacy in marriage is friendship. But friendship will die away if you cannot have conversations. So guys, singlehoodness should be guarded jealously at all costs. It's not time for you to wallow in sadness and to think that you will never get a partner. It is time for you to become the best you can be. It is time for you to enjoy all that you can, and not destructive kind of, you know, enjoyment. It is the kind of enjoyment that gives you the space to be all that you can be, because once you get into marriage, then you have two people thinking differently, but have to find a solid ground and have to find a level ground for them to work as partners. And that's why, by the way, in I don't remember, what do we call it? God, I don't know why I'm forgetting basic stuff. But when you're going for premarital classes, you'll be told that maybe the first 5 years of marriage might be difficult. Why? Because that's where you're setting the right foundation for you to play safely, you know, in that environment. So guys, I just came to encourage the single ladies and the single guys that you're not late, and this is your season of enjoying, this is your season of having fun, this is your season of guarding everything jealously. And the reason, it's not like you will not have fun in marriage, you will, but it will take a bit more time now for you to learn another way of having fun with somebody else on board and having to think about somebody else. And by the way, they don't come alone, they come with company, they come with their family. Somehow their family will affect how you think and how you make decisions somehow, you know. Of course, you don't give them like 100% of their space while making decisions, but somehow you will have to consider them, just as you are considering your family as a single person, you know. They will come with company because their friends will be company. Somehow it will affect decisions. So guys, the long of the short is, it is good to enjoy every season you're in. Don't allow that intrusive thought of, what if I've, you know, I'm late, what if I've been left behind, what if. Enjoy your season, and once you learn how to enjoy every season, then life becomes beautiful. Because if you keep thinking about the next season while you're in your current season, if you don't find the balance of enjoying the season you're in and anticipating for the next season, then you become a sad person automatically. So I hope this has helped you in one way or the other, guys. Kindly leave your comments down below, especially for the single people. Tell me, why are you not enjoying your single season if you're not? And if you're enjoying your singlehood season, let us know in the comment section. What are you enjoying most about being single? What are you looking forward to when it comes to marriage? And again, the married guys, let's know, what are you enjoying most in marriage that you couldn't in your singlehood season? And number 2, what are you missing most about being single? Thank you guys for staying with me. I hope to see you in the next episode. Kindly remember to subscribe. Remember to also share, guys. This one needs to be shared far and wide. Remember to share our video, and remember to comment down below. Let's have an interactive session, and see you in the next one.